welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. I'm doing a new technique to what I normally do for my zippered bags and my boxed bags. I came across it on YouTube and I really like the technique, and I think it'll actually help with my productivity when I sew to sell. This particular bag is one piece of fabric and it will actually line itself. Now with a fat quarter, you can actually get two bags that are fully lined out of the one fat quarter. So I'm going to show you in this video 4 variations of the same bag. Same measurement for each bag. The finishing is going to be slightly different at the end of each of the bags. So stick around and I'm going to show you this really quick, time-saving way to make a fully lined bag out of just one piece of fabric. Rightio. What we need here is one piece of fabric 9 inches by 22 inches in length. And if you're using a fat quarter, just cut the fat quarter in half to get 2 pieces. We need a piece of stabilizer which is 9 inches by 10.5 inches. And all I'm using here is just a really lightweight cotton interfacing. I use this with dressmaking, so it's just a lightweight cotton interfacing. 9 inches by 10.5 inches and a 7.5 inch zip. So I'm using a continuous zipper here. I've put my slider on, but if you want to go and use a regular zip, you can do that. Grab an 8-inch zip and we will just chop the ends off the zip. We also need just a little tab out of any excess fabric. It doesn't matter whether it's the same fabric or something else. And we want a couple of 3-inch strips of fabric that are the same width as your zip. And that's what we're going to use as our zipper tabs. So 3-inch strip of fabric here. This one, we want a 3-inch strip of fabric to make our loop for the side of our bag. To make the loop, all it is folding the fabric in half, fold it in half again to bring the raw edges in the center, then fold it in half and stitch down both long edges. So that's all you need to do is to make the loop. And the loop is 1.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches long. To attach your tab to the end of your zip, take the right side up and fold it in half and just slide the zipper in there, and the aim is to just stitch that closed. Then we'll open that out and the raw edge is enclosed, and these raw edges will be enclosed when we line our bag. Do the same for the other side, and we can take that to the machine and we'll stitch close to the edge, about 1/4 inch, and double stitch when you get to the zipper area. If you're using a regular dress zip, just cut off on the zipper side of the metal teeth and put your tab over the top and pinch it closed, put some clips in, and then you can stitch it down, and you'll do the same for the other end. So after your zipper tab has been stitched down, just pull the fabric away from the zip and open it out like that, and that's our finished zipper tab. With this main piece of fabric now, what we want to do is find our center. Once you find your center, you can either put a pin or a pen mark or some kind of mark in the corner there. I'm just going to snip that, and you can see I've got a little triangle cut out there. I've done exactly the same thing with the interfacing. I folded that in half and just nicked the corner out. So take our main fabric, or this is the only piece of fabric. Take your fabric, place your interfacing over the center. Once you've ironed your stabilizer onto your fabric, we can take this back to the iron, and we want to fold the unstabilized edges over to the edge of the interfacing there. So basically what we're doing is just making a crease right on the very edge of your interfacing. Bring the fabric around, make sure you line up your side edges so they're nice and straight, and then fold the fabric over so the interfacing is sitting underneath, and then just press that and do the same for the other side. So these pieces are actually going to be our lining pieces, and the middle section will be the main body of the bag. You'll also notice that the fabric here overlaps by about 1 inch. That's the width of the zip. So that's taking into account the zipper that we're going to put in. So press that and then we can insert our zips. Now if you're sewing to sell and you want to put labels on this, see your center point just there? Our zipper is going to be along the top here, and this will be the front section of our bag. So decide whereabouts you want to put your label. Do you want it in the middle at the top there? I'm going to put mine down here. Keep in mind that this is the bottom of your bag, that's the top, and you want to allow for your seam allowances. So just make sure you bring your label in a little bit. So that's where I'm going to put my label. I'm going to stitch my labels on before I do anything else. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of doing these bags. So I've popped a label just up here as well. If you want to make a bag with the zipper in the center, then pop your label closer to this crease line here. And if you're going to have your bag with the zipper at the top, you can put your label anywhere in this section here. Okay, let's get the zip put in. Take your zip, and we have the curved side and the flat side. Now the curved side is what is actually going to close the zip. So when we bring it toward the curved side, it'll actually close the zip, and if we pull it to the flat side, it'll open the zip. So have the curved side facing at this end and turn the zip face down. Where that crease line is here, center it, fold the fabric over the top, put some clips in place. Just make sure your tabs are open. So your zip is sitting underneath here, and this is how it's going to look when you've stitched it. So you've got your main body and you've got your lining all in the one go. We'll take this to the machine now and we'll stitch that zipper side down. Now before we put the zip on, I'm constantly forgetting to put the little side loop on my bags. Take your loop, fold it in half, and just pop it on the left hand side of the bag underneath your zip and stitch that down. I'll do that quickly first. There we go. So the loop is secure, and now I can go and put my zip in. Put your zipper foot on and we can go and enclose this. Make sure your tabs are open. When you get to the zipper head, just move that out of the way. And that's it. Once we've enclosed the zip, take this to the iron and we'll press this so the fabric is pressed away from the zip, and we'll do the same on the other side. Now with the other side, where the interfacing ends here, place the top edge of the zip into the fold and just make sure you line up the side edges so that they're nice and even with the side of your bag. Fold that back over and we'll pop a few clips in place. And we'll take this one to the machine and we'll stitch the zipper down. For the other side, we'll do exactly the same thing. There we go, the zip's enclosed, and we just need to take this to the iron, press the lining piece away from the zip, turn the bag right side out and give that a good press as well. Open the zip. You want to make sure your zipper is open at this point. Turn it inside out, and what we're going to do here is we've got the lining pieces and we've got the main body of the bag. Line up the edges just here on the lining side, so you want those two folds lined up. put a clip. Do the same for the other side. Pop a clip in place, even that out, and for the lining, line up the corners, and along the bottom we're going to leave an opening of about 2 to 3 inches. We're going to start here, back stitch. Now we only need to do a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance here, so we'll back stitch here all the way around and stop when we get here, and just do a back stitch here to secure the corner. And at the other side, start here, come around, and we'll back stitch when you get to the end there. There's no need to stitch on the fold. When you're stitching over the bulk that you've got here where the zipper is, the zipper head ends here, so you've got plenty of room to get your foot under. I do like to just go over this a couple of times and then continue stitching. Back stitch at the beginning here, we're going to come around, triple stitch here, come to the end, and we'll back stitch there too. Repeat for the other side. If you've got any excess zipper tab, you can trim that off as well. When you've finished stitching all the way around and left an opening, we're just going to trim our corners, and we'll turn that through. Once you're happy with that, take this back to the machine, just grab the edges of the opening here, run your finger along it. The seam will want to go inside, and then we can just do a stitch to close up that opening. So there we have the first version of this bag. Just a flat bag, zipper at the top, fully lined with just that one piece of fabric. So this version is going to have a boxed corner, and we want to determine how big a box we want to have. If I make a 1-inch box, then it's going to be 2 inches wide at the bottom, and it's going to come down in height as well. I'm just going to do a very small 1/2-inch box, which is about 1.3 centimeters. So using the 1/2-inch mark on my ruler, I'm just lining the 1/2 inch with the folded edge of my fabric and drawing that up to the stitching line. From the stitching line, take your 1/2-inch mark, and that's going to be the size of my box. So it's a 1/2-inch boxed corner, but it will be 1 inch wide at the base when it's finished. Same for all 4 corners. And if you made the itty bitty bag and you made yourself a template, just go and use the template. So line it up, because that was a 1/4 of an inch boxed corner as well. So we've got that on both sides. We'll do the same for the other side. Okay, to box our corner, pinch the fabric together, and we want to pinch it out to the corner on either side, and you'll see that there's a straight line across here, and that's what we're going to stitch down. So we just clip it in place. We'll repeat for all 4 corners. Okay, we can take our corners now and stitch them down on all 4 sides. When all your corners are done, just trim them off, turn the bag through the right way around, poke all your corners out, and then we can close up the opening. All right, the final bag is going to have the zip in the center like this. So everything else is exactly the same. We've got the little cutout on the center of our bag that we did at the beginning, and we're going to line up the center of the zip with that little cutout there. Just make sure your zip is open. Take the other side, with the other side, line up the center as well. So we have the main part of our bag folded like that, and we have our lining piece. Just take your lining piece, and we're going to stitch it closed at the bottom and leave an opening in the center. So we're just going to stitch this closed at either end and leave an opening for turning through. So there's our opening for turning the bag through after. Take the center and line that up with the center of the rest of your bag. With that clipped in place, what we're going to do we're going to stitch from the bottom and come up just beside the edge of the zipper here. We're going to do that for both sides, and then we'll flip it around, do exactly the same thing on the lining piece and the same thing on the other end. Once we've secured the side seams, then we're going to stitch over the zipper area. So I've stitched that down on the sides, and same with the lining, and we've got a tiny little opening where the zipper area is. We're going to just stitch this closed now. So we're just starting about an inch on either side of the zipper area. So this area has been closed now, and I've just done about an inch on either side of that zipper area. Repeat for the other side. Once all of that is secured, let's just clip our corners, and we can turn this bag the right way around. When you're happy with your corners and everything looks good, then we'll just take this back to the machine and close up that little opening. I've decided to do one more bag just to show you the difference between a 1-inch boxed corner and a 2-inch boxed corner. So I'm now going to do 1 inch from the edge and from the seam line. I'll pinch the corners together and we'll stitch this longer line, which is now a 2-inch line, down, and I'll go and do that for all 4 corners. All right, there we go. We have one bag 4 different ways, and each bag is just using one piece of fabric to line itself. So here we've got just a flat bag with a zip down the center, fully lined on the inside. This one here, that's got no boxed corners or anything, it's just square corners, again fully lined on the inside. And these 2 bags both have boxed corners, so you can see the difference in the size of the boxing. The bag technique is exactly the same. We've got a 1/2 inch box, which gives us 1 inch across, and we've got a 1-inch box, which gives us 2 inches across. So you can see it makes it wider across the bottom, and if you have a look at the height of the bag, there's a difference in the height as well. So because I've got an extra 1/2 inch across the bottom, this bag is an extra 1/2 inch lower. So that's the difference between boxing, one bag pattern made 4 different ways. So what did you think? One piece of fabric to line a bag. It's such a simple technique. I think this is probably a game changer for me in my sew to sell range. I've got just a flat bag with a zipper down the center, a boxed bag with a narrow 1/4 inch box or 1 inch across the bottom, and then this one with the 2 inches across the bottom. I think they've all come up really well. All of them will have their uses. I think people will love these. I've been busily making loads of these bags because I think that they will actually sell. So here's one in a really bright stripy colour, and then this is another one just in a plain black. I used a fat quarter to do this. I made a couple of them. So all fully lined with itself. I timed myself making these. The first couple of bags took a little bit of time because I had to nut out how to actually do these. I've got these down to about 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes per bag, with my labour rate that I'm charging for myself, I'm actually going to sell these, or try to sell these, for $15 each. It may happen that people don't think that they're worth $10, $15 each. I'll see how they go over the next couple of months, and then I might put the price down to $10 each. We'll see what happens though. Anyway, I'm really happy with this particular pattern. It's going to save so much time, so much cutting time as well, because you've only got to cut one piece of fabric plus your interfacing. What do you think? Which style of bag do you like better? I actually couldn't even tell you which one I like best. Now you may recognize this fabric as coming out of that free lot that I showed you in a video a few weeks ago. And I had a lovely letter just the other day from the lady that actually gave me these fabrics. And in appreciation for all the fabric that she's given me and the really nice letter with some tips of where I could go next time I'm over her way, I'm actually going to send her one of these bags. So Joan will get to see what I've done with the bags. I mean, I'm sure you're watching, Joan. So here you go, one of these is coming your way. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know which one you like. Do you like the flat bags? Do you like the zipper down the center? Do you like the bigger boxing? Do you hate the bags altogether? Tell me what you think. Catch you next time.